are many ways to get from Guatemala City to Lake Atitlan. Emily and I went with the chicken bus. These are retired school buses from the United States that get sold to Central and South American countries. Once you find out where to get on, I found it was very safe and enjoyable, albeit quite small. I had to wear knee pads in the first one. And it's a roller coaster. Everyone's hanging on tight. We made a connection and ended up in Panachel, right on Lake Atitlan, and got our lunch. And then took a lancha to Sununa, where our immersion was taking place. Tuk-tuks are beautifully customized in Sununa and San Marcos, and we took one up the hill to our lodgings for the night at the Fungi Academy. After a red-eye flight and a 6 a.m. start, 2 chicken buses, a lancha, and a tuk-tuk, we were pretty beat. The Fungi Academy is a beautiful place where people can find lodging or come to learn about cultivation and information about mushrooms. We made friends and enjoyed our stay. All the structures were made when it was an ashram in its past life. Feeling limber, we went to San Marcos to explore the town and took a beautiful hike up the nature preserve. Then it was time to jump in to our role as work traders. Emily and I each worked 30 hours a week, sleep in this tent on a nice mattress, 3 meals a day, as well as participate in all the immersive activities. This is the beautiful Casa Awanima. Luscious food-filled terraces, tropical plants, ponds, yoga deck, sauna, cold plunge, lodging, kitchens, all dreamed up by Mackenzie Barth and designed under the tenets of permaculture. Built by local and international natural builders. My friend Kelcie is a super herbal witch, and she gave wonderful lessons on herbalism and how to make tinctures, salves, and fire cider. We built a fence for the chickens because every time we walked past the coop door, they'd peck at it, wanting to come out. More critical to the operation, though, was getting the chickens to scratch and peck at the food waste pile. All cooped up, 14 chickens laid in total 1 or 2 eggs per day. Once they had outdoor access, the 14 chickens began laying 7, 8, 10, or even 14 per day in total. And with this many people living together, we eat a lot of eggs. Thanks, chickens. Nature is endlessly entertaining and beautiful and inspiring. It is a wonderful experience to be in a new place. Part of what got me so excited was seeing familiar birds in this place that I would be seeing in the Northwest during spring migration. And of course, all the new birds I'd never seen in my life just blew my mind. Over the whole trip, I saw more than 50 new species. Nobody takes your garbage away once a week in Lake Atitlan. There is tons and tons of litter, and if it's not littered, it's burned. At Awanima, they practice bottle bricks, which is compacting plastic into plastic bottles to use as a brick, which you can then use structurally in natural building techniques. It took about 3 hours to make a meal, and each one was special. Sharing food and being creative in the kitchen was a wonderful thing to do as a group. Took a walk one morning and found everyone's favorite waterfall. I had never been in one, and a mantra for the group was, "When was the last time you did something for the first time?" Boy, was that a refreshing thing to do. It felt like I was getting pulverized with ice cubes. Felt reborn walking down the valley with the first light catching the banana leaves. Good day to be alive. Went out for a sunrise hike one day with Emily and our friend Ruud and realized that that's not a cloud but a plume of ash. Volcan Fuego goes off at regular intervals. It's a live volcano and you can hike up near it from Antigua. Very cool. This is the view from on top of a rock on the ridge above Sununa. Didn't get there by sunrise because we had to find the trail ourselves, but it was sure beautiful. This is Ruud, and he's traveling with his wife Lisanne for a year. They're from the Netherlands. That's the big boulder which we had to climb to see the view. There's our house, Casa Wanima, with the green roof by the windy road. There's an ashram in Sunana that puts on community kirtans every Sunday, and kirtan is devotional singing. Lessons and workshops were held in the yoga deck. This is Nata giving a talk about agroforestry. Other workshops included permaculture principles, deep emotional intelligence, poetry workshops, rethinking conceptions of time, and on Valentine's Day, love letter writing to yourself. Mwah. I got a good tip that it was the right time to see the national bird, the resplendent quetzal. So I hired a bird guide and a private boat to take me and 6 friends across the lake to the town of Santiago at 5:30 in the morning. It was pretty magical to be driving in a truck through town without any tourists or locals walking around yet. And after about 25 minutes, we were in the forest on the edge of the volcanic plateau. The ecology in this forest was completely different than that of Sununa. It was the Pacific slope of the mountains and very, very lush comparatively. The quetzal knocked my socks off. We saw the bird's back, its front. It flew to its nest and then up in a tree, and a female came. 11 out of 10 would watch again. Count all the other bird watchers and put it in a comment below. I think it's a beautiful phenomenon that all these people and children and equipment are here to see that bird. The rest of the birds in the forest were pretty spectacular too. Another day for the memory books. The third week of each immersion is centered around giving back to the community of Sununa. We picked up as much trash as we could along the road and the public dock and put in signs that said, "Please don't litter," in Spanish and Quechua. It was difficult to see so much garbage in a beautiful place like this. However, it's pretty much the same thing in the United States. We just know how to hide it better. Our local friend Cheo led us to the needy and the widowed and the elderly who could use supplies, and we gave them corn and sugar. And with a full moon over our heads and full hearts, it was time to say goodbye. Big cinnamon roll hugs, lifelong friendships, knowledge, habits, and stories. Time to start another chapter. Emily and I traveled with Ruud and Lisanne to beautiful Antigua, and it wasn't until the third chicken bus that we remembered we left our passports at Casa Wanima. We hadn't booked a flight home yet, and we were in one place for a week, so we organized with Kelcie to get them back in a few days. In the meantime, we got to explore Antigua with its beautiful volcanoes and vibrant city life. All the streets are cobblestone, the buildings are beautifully painted, each interior is its own universe of creativity, and ruins pepper the landscape. Artifacts from another time. It was nice to play tourist and get to know Ruud and Lisanne better. We made dinner at our Airbnb with tortillas that were 3 for 14 cents. And like clockwork, we got our passports back, just in time to start traveling again. We traveled from Antigua to Guatemala City, and while eating lunch and doing research, a shoulder bag went missing without our notice that had Emily and I's passports in it. Frustrated, upset, flabbergasted and in shock, we said goodbye to Ruud and Lisanne and our travel plans. Filed a police report. The next morning, we met a woman named Astrid who helped us make an appointment with the U.S. Embassy. The soonest was 11 days from that point, which worked out nicely because apparently Lake Atitlan wasn't finished with us. Emily's mother connected us with a friend of hers, Joyce Maynard, an author who has land at Lake Atitlan. Joyce invited us out for one night before she had 14 riders coming so we could have a hot bath, a sauna in the morning, and coffee with a new friend. Joyce is quite an inspiring person to connect with, and she took the time to even write up a little story about us on her Facebook page. Check the video description for links to Casa Awanima's website, Joyce's post, various other things that I mentioned in this video. Support just kept rolling in from friends, family, and strangers. We were only able to stay at Joyce's for one night. Luckily, there was a private room available at Awanima. They were just beginning week 2 of their third immersion. We reconnected with 11 old friends and made 8 new ones. And it was Emily's birthday on March 4th. We went to San Juan, a town known for its traditional textiles and natural dyes. Just breathtaking. Our new friend Rosalie from Copenhagen also has a March 4th birthday. We had raw cakes and a dance party. And my birthday is on March 5th. Oh yeah, and we had to take passport photos and complete and print all of our documents. And there was just enough time for one last adventure with my new friend Marvin. He's a master botanist from Germany, and we took our time. Boy, we took our time. Looking at bugs, birds, plants, mushrooms, lichens, rock, everything. He really turned me on to some beautiful wild orchids. We ate fallen avocados, we found wild varieties of dahlia and fuchsia, and asked the locals which way the trail goes. It was a 14-hour day, and we finished up with a bath in the waterfall. Hearts just bursting with joy and love. Had to say goodbye again. Had our U.S. Embassy appointment the next morning, got issued emergency passports, and finally booked a flight home to Seattle, which was delayed. Delta needed volunteers to take a different flight path, and they offered to give us $1,000 each, which we graciously took. Just a cherry on top of a hell of a trip. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share.